There's too many of you crying. Brother, brother, brother.
I wonder if the U.S. Olympic women's hockey team will ever know how close they came to be forever linked to the latest bumper-to-bumper Snownomi naming. And good afternoon. More on that later in the program. We are off to a very quick start today because we're going to have a guest right off at the top of the show. There'll be plenty on the U.S. Women's Olympic hockey gold medal winning performance. Late goal to tie it, and then they win it in overtime with, I believe, just under 16 minutes to go in overtime. Megan Keller with the game winner, and the rest is history. So we'll definitely get back into that throughout today's program and what's been a very eventful, I think, an entertaining Winter Olympiad in Cortina, Milano, as we like, or Milano Cortina, I guess is more accurate. We'll also have today in studio Patrick Royce. He's joining us between 4 and 5. Dr. Dan's inbox will be open in the 5 o'clock hour. Gaardsy produces the show. My name, of course, is Dan Barreiro, and we are pleased to be joined. And maybe, if you look back on just 2 weeks ago, shocked by the fact that we have our next guest on the program, again, as a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Mike Conley, welcome back, my friend.
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing well. What a saga for you. I was really looking forward to this visit today when I found out you're going to be available to us today, because I want the lowdown, man. It's been a, fair to say, rather crazy couple of weeks for you.
Yeah, it's fair to say. It was wild, honestly. Something new for me at 19th season. I get to experience something completely new. So it was crazy.
So let's go back to the beginning if we can. I don't know how it works on trades anymore. I don't even know how it works. You know, the assumption is with veteran players, leaders like yourselves, they're going to have maybe some early word that something might happen, that the team feels they're going to do that. But I don't know how difficult that is until a deal is actually made. So tell me how you found out about the deal, how, you know, whether you'd been given any hints at all that you might be headed this way. What do you remember?
Yeah. Well, obviously, you know, Tim Conley is one of the more transparent GMs that you can work with. He keeps you in the loop, keeps you up to date on if there's any movement, you know, and for the most part of, you know, all the rumors, cycle and all that, you know, was pretty quiet. And up until that day or so, actually that morning, like 10:30, 11 o'clock, he called me and said, hey, there's opportunity. There's 50, you got a 50% or 50-50 chance to get traded. And, you know, if we do the deal, it'd be more for, you know, money purposes, tax purposes, yada, yada, yada. So we're kind of going over that. And then I'm like, okay, cool. And so I still don't know if it's going to happen or what's going to happen. I don't know any teams involved. You know, none of that information has kind of been disclosed. So, and about an hour and a half later, you know, I get a text from Jaden McDaniels, actually, of all people, first person to text me. He's like, oh, gee, oh, no, you know, I can't believe it. This is crazy, you know, just all this stuff. And I'm like, what happened, you know? And I started checking my phone some more and, you know, happened to see if I would cross my phone. You know, I was traded to the Bulls. And just like from that point, it was just a circus of, you know, getting people on the phone, seeing what was going on, checking in on stuff, and just trying to figure out what exactly just happened.
Is it at that time, do you feel devastated? Do you feel rejected? Do you feel philosophical, given that you know there's been some conversation about it? What were your emotions like then when it became, the first trade became official?
Well, you know, at this stage, you tend to prepare yourself for that, and it's crazy, but like you prepare all this time, like, hey, you know, I get it. If I get traded, you know, it's part of the business, and it's likely that that'll happen later as you go in your career. But not until it happens does it. You can't. There's like no way to really prepare for that feeling. You know, the shock. It's still like a little bit of shock. It's still like, wow, like you're left with this unknown void for a second. Like, oh my God, I'm going somewhere new. Like, I gotta, meet new people. I gotta reestablish, relationships or make new relationships. And then you obviously you immediately go towards your family and like, oh my God, like, am I going to be away for another 3 months away from them again? Or are they going to come with me, or are they happy, or what do they want? Just all these questions start popping in. So you just get a rush of emotion and, you think about your time here and all the things that, you're able to do as a team. And it just all kind of rushes through and you try to just, keep it all together at that moment and figure out what the next steps are.
And so when do you find out that you've been traded again?
That was I think it was the next day.
Next day, right?
Because I had flew back. Actually, the day after I got traded, I flew back in that early morning back to Minneapolis just to be with the family until I had word of whether I need to go to Chicago or whether I need to go where I need to go next. And once I found out that Chicago was looking to trade me somewhere else, I didn't know where to. I kind of just buckled in and waited for the next thing. And when you end up going to Charlotte, it was like, okay, now we're in Charlotte, are they planning on keeping me, or what's the plan there? Just kind of trying to walk through the scenario. Is it a buyout? What's happening? And that's when kind of all the full circle moments started coming together. I started reading more about like, hey, there's opportunity. You could end up in Minnesota again. I'm like, this would be absolutely crazy, just to, end up getting another deal and signing for the rest of the season and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, just kind of waiting and seeing if that all was possible and seeing what could happen going forward.
Were you aware before that stuff starts percolating of the rule? Because I don't know that if I knew it, I forgot about it, that if you're traded twice, there is that possibility that you could end up back with the team that traded you the first time. Were you aware of that rule on the front end?
No, I wasn't. I was aware that once I was traded, that I always thought that once I was traded, I wouldn't be able to sign back with the team.
Yeah.
That even if I got bought out, that's kind of like the situation I always kind of thought was. So this one was new to me.
And did it become pretty, again, you mentioned Tim's pretty transparent guy. Is he, I don't know how the rules work on that. Is he allowed to talk with you or talk to your agent? How quickly do you become aware that this is more than rumor, that this is something that the Wolves are trying to bring about, to make happen?
Yeah, that's something he wasn't very transparent with. Even if he had known, I don't know that,
right.
He didn't disclose that to me, but it was more of like me figuring this out, like you're Googling things, you know what I mean? Like
sure.
You're Googling like, oh, this is, you're curious and kind of seeing like, oh, this could work. And all we need to happen now is Charlotte, buy me out and we're back, as a free agent and we have the opportunity to go back to Minnesota. So, I think once Charlotte made, we were able to come to, that decision there, that's when, you started getting more conversation from, Timberwolves and like, hey, this would be awesome if we understand if you don't want to be here, if you felt some type of way or whatever. Sure. I'm like, no, man, this is home. This is, my family loves it, kind of thing. And I don't want to have to uproot them at all this midseason. So it literally just all worked out in a perfect manner for, I think, all parties involved.
How happy are you to be back here?
Man, I'm very happy, honestly. And I was talking to the media earlier and just like, there's a certain level of, where you get a certain fulfillment by being around the team and watching the team grow, watching the team struggle, watching the team have success, going through that with a certain group of guys for a matter of years, that you don't want to like just leave that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that you're just gonna you're gonna try something new now in the middle of the season and see what happens. And it's like just not really in me to do that. So it was like, man, there's no other place I'd rather finish this year out with than, these guys. And obviously my family played a big role in the decision, and knowing that they'd be here, that, Dad would be around the kids and he'd be able to be around everybody and my wife, and everybody's comfortable, and just having that routine that we're so used to having here was something that I valued a lot, and wanted to make sure that, we retained that and got it back rolling again.
Mike, you mentioned your family, and as you said, you've been around this long enough that maybe philosophically you kind of get it, even though, as I'm sure at the moment it happens, it's still got to sting and be a difficult thing to process. But give me some sense of your family, what their reaction was when the first, it became official that you were traded the first time, and then their reaction as they find out, hey, Dad's going to come back to us and to our team.
Yeah, I'm blessed, man. Honestly, family they're super resilient. My kids were a part of the first time being traded here from Utah to Minnesota. They were, I obviously stayed in Utah while I was here, for the second half of the season, and so I was, missing them for a few months, and as they got older, they realized, why and how things worked a little bit. So this time around, when I was explaining them on the FaceTime, like, hey, Daddy got traded to Chicago, their first questions were like, is it warm? Just asking all these questions that had nothing to do with basketball,
right.
Just like, things that kids would ask. And it seemed like, I'm like, man, they might be okay if something happens, you know what I mean? So, they surprised me with their level, of comfort and understanding what was happening, and that, it's not the end of the world. And then when, I told them also that, who knows, the next couple of days I could get traded again. And, I don't know where my final team is and where I'm going to end up. So just, hold off on, any, opinions or whatever you have, until the dust settles in the next few days after the deadline, and see what happens.
It's going to be a good, if you ever decide to write a book, and I don't know if you've ever thought about that, because I'm sure you could write a hell of a book as long as you've been in this thing, and with your background and so forth, your family background. This is going to be a nice chapter, right? It's going to be a hell of a chapter.
For sure. It's one that, not too many people experience, that's for sure.
No, that is definite. So do you have any sense, now that you're back officially, what your basketball role, I'm talking about in terms of playing time on court, is going to be? In the interim that obviously the Wolves did make a move to help depth and in getting Ayo Dosunmu. So what's your sense of, or maybe even what you've been told regarding, okay, how much are you going to have a chance to play?
Yeah, we haven't talked much about it. Today actually being my first real day. Yesterday actually I signed, but or 2 days ago, I can't remember when it was, but so the day was my actual first day of being around the coaches and practicing and doing all that stuff. So honestly, I think, after I was watching the games closely after I was traded, and you had Ayo, and, you got Bones playing at a high level. You got TJ coming back. You got all kinds of guys that are going to be in that fold, in that rotation, I think, coming this second half of the season, that, whether my role is a lot or a little, I think it'll fit around those guys. I think those guys have been a big part of what we've been and what we're trying to do, and have been playing really, really well. And like you said, adding Ayo and what we expect from him and what we expect him to do on a nightly basis requires him to be on the floor a lot, and so that's a lot of minutes that'll be eaten up, and you just have to be ready to play whenever you get that moment. Be ready to play if it's 7-8 minutes, if it's 10, if it's 12, whatever it may be. Just be ready to go out there and help the team.
I like to think that with what you represent, you're good comfort food for any team. If you play, that's a bonus. And who knows, as you say, how this thing's going to go. People get hurt, things change. Who's to say? But I do think you do provide comfort food for this team in what you still can offer, even if your minutes are limited. And, even in the short time that you've been gone, I don't know how much you've been aware of the conversation about, now they finished with, your club finished with 2 nice victories right before the break. But before that, it was like, an all points bulletin crisis. Rudy was very frustrated, expressed some concern about defensive intensity after a game. Your head coach is talking about how moody the team is. In fact, somebody just wanted to know if you brought your mood rings with you for the locker room. So I view you as a guy who can help with that. And maybe even in that short period of time that you were gone, might have missed a little bit of that. So can you speak to that issue and what you can do, whether you're playing or not, to maybe help the coaches, then in this case, you as a player in the locker room, help with that particular issue or that particular mystery surrounding this team?
Yeah, that's the crazy part, about our team is we have a lot of emotional guys. We have a lot of, talented guys, prideful guys, both players and coaches. And I think what was realized immediately when I was traded was, I think there was a bridge there that people, whether you knew it or not, they kind of brought all that together, almost glued it together, being able to communicate those both sides or just keep guys from blowing their top when they get angry or whatever the situation may be was me in that aspect of that leadership role for these guys. I think everybody had got accustomed to it and used to it, and then you see it gone for a week or whatever it was. You start to realize that, hey, what's going on? Like now, we're gonna have to figure something out, figure out how to get through this and not go south. And it's weird, but that's something that I guess I've been able to provide for throughout my career. Is you said that level of comfort, that stability. I think whether I'm playing or not, whether I'm on the floor or not, just a big part of the DNA of the team. And they told me like the first shoot around in Toronto when I wasn't there, and they were bringing the huddle in, and everybody just sat there quiet for like 5 seconds because I'm usually the one that addresses the team or brings the team in or whatever for every team huddle and stuff. So it was like a really awkward silence and nobody knew what to do. So that was kind of like one of those telltale moments where it's like, dang, what just happened kind of deal. So there's an importance to that, and hopefully I can just continue doing what I've been doing as far as regarding that for our team.
Well, you have their respect, right? Everybody talks about respect, but not everybody has it, and that isn't always said, obviously, because it's an uncomfortable deal. But you got it, and I really do believe. Look, we know who the coach of this team is, and I don't think you want to be. I don't think they're giving you extra money to be an assistant coach. Maybe they are. You can tell us if they are, but the fact is, there's always a player component to this thing, as you know better than I. And if there's a player or players who can provide some of that, I think it's incredibly invaluable. And you could argue, again, based on what you've told us before over the years about the emotions of this team or individual players, the mercurial nature of some of them, it's crucial. It's a big part of giving this team the best chance to get back at least as far as you did last year or even further.
For sure. And I think, that's, it's been obvious at certain times of the year, certain losses we've had, just the talent that we have is, one of the more deep talented rosters that you'll find. And we can go toe to toe with anybody in that aspect. And the things that we need to work on the most are the mental sides, not getting too upset or too high or too low. In different moments and different times of the year and different games, or whether you're playing well or not, like we have to find ways to get around that and mature in that aspect in order to make those next steps. So hopefully that doesn't go by the wayside. That's something that we continue to view as one of the more important aspects of our journey to hopefully getting further and further as we go during the season. But like you said, guys just respect certain voices. They respect, the work guys put in, the sacrifices that guys give, just really, there's a lot of guys on our team who really sacrifice a lot for each other and are willing to take the blame, willing to deflect, the positives and attention away from themselves for other people. So, we have guys like that. We build around those guys, and we're just going to continue to try to glue this thing together and keep it rolling, through the playoffs.
Yeah, and part of this too is they know you don't have any agendas. You're not an agenda guy, and that you can't fake that. You either have that or you don't. I am curious to get your view now that you've been. Well, I guess you never really left technically, but weren't necessarily with the team day to day. Did you understand when Rudy kind of went off after a game? I actually liked it because I think, it's dangerous out in public, you could say, and I know Finchie didn't seem to love it the next day very much. But to me, that's Rudy, even on a night where you could argue his defense wasn't that great, just trying as one of the older players of the team to say, man, we can't shortcut this any longer. What did you make of that? And maybe, are you going to need to be a mediator in that regard between Rudy and Finchie?
Right. When I heard about it, I thought it was, Rudy addresses, his opinions different ways. And, I think Coach and all of us, there's one thing to say stuff out in public, and another to say it to the team, privately or in practice or in film. We give ample times to speak up and say things and do all that. So, I think, those are the moments. Rudy's not wrong. He's not wrong that we need a certain type of effort level. We need a certain type of commitment to that, the defensive side of the ball. On bad nights, we're not having, shots fall. You got to play a certain way regardless. The standard has to be the standard. And, but not always does that have to be a public thing, So I think there's kind of both can be true, in that state, in that sense. And it's something we can always talk about or work on in the hours that we get to practice together and watch film together. And, if we have that on your chest, we can always tell it to each other, because that's the kind of relationship we should have. So I think that's where,
Sure.
the lines got crossed a little bit between Coach and Rudy and the message, whether it was accepted. I'm not, I wasn't around to see what happened in film or the days after that, but whether it was accepted or not, or whether they moved on from it, it's something I haven't been able to talk to them about.
Were you around your teammates today? Have you had a chance to get back with them? And I'm just curious what some of the guys have said.
Yeah, I was with them today. I got to practice, compete a little bit, and I do all the, go through everything, workouts, lifts,
right,
treatments. So it was good. It was good to see everybody. Like, everybody was just super excited. Like, I mentioned how, we're getting ready to start practice, and we bring the huddle in, and everybody just looked at me smiling, excited that I was getting ready to say, like, whatever, lock in, or, hard work on three, or wolves on three, or whatever I was about to say. And, Bones jumped on me and started, just being really excited about the fact that, we kind of got the group back together again. So it was pretty cool to see everybody and see everybody's emotions just being positive.
One last item, and this is something we could obviously talk about in more depth down the road, but have you given much thought, like, do you have any vision that if you were given the opportunity, you might want to try to stay with this organization even when you're done playing in one form or another?
Yeah. Honestly, I've keeping all that open. Obviously, I know that, my time is coming soon, whether it's after next year or whatever, or I'm trying to get one more year if I can. But, these organizations that I've been a part of, from Memphis to here, really just have created just great relationships and been around some great people, great players and staff and people in the city. So this is another one of those places where, if I do get an opportunity to do something, I don't necessarily want to be a coach or anything like that, but who knows? Just never say never. And if I get an opportunity to be around, obviously, I wouldn't bat an eye at being able to come back here.
It's funny, when the story broke that you were being traded, we did several salutes to you. And once we realized that you were going to be able to come back, I think as my producer, Justin Gaardsy, said, it would be cool. What they ought to do for tomorrow night's game, they ought to put together a video of all the things that were said about you that were, about the fact that they thought you were not coming back here. They're trying to do the salutes to what you meant to the organization. You should hear all that. I mean, maybe you have heard it in different ways, but that'd be kind of cool because it's so unprecedented for you to be back in that same uniform, listening to people salute you as if you're gone.
Right. Yeah. That was. I think Mike Conley was telling me today. He was like, you could be one of the first players to get a farewell video and a welcome back video in the same game. So, that would be cool. Honestly, to just be around these guys and people every day, and you don't really necessarily hear those people don't tell you those things on a daily basis. They assume they're going to see you.
That's right.
The next day, and so to hear something positive coming from them, mean a lot. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Do you have the handshake for Dosunmu figured out yet?
Not yet. Right now, it's been really cordial.
Yep.
But we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it going, man. I gotta get a bit of his personality down, and just kind of try to cater to who they are.
He's a nice player. I really think he can help you guys. What do you think?
Oh man, I love his game. He's really he's a lot much bigger guard than I even remember when we were playing against him. When I see him in practice today, I was like he looks like a 2-3 type body, but plays more of that point two, sort of like what Nikhil did for us so well. Physical, plays defense, pushes the pace, shoots the ball at a high rate, creates a lot of opportunities with the way that he plays. So just a really good kid. He seems like, he's got everything in order, both on and off the court. So just excited to get to see him up close now, be teammates with him, and hopefully, he just keeps providing what he's providing and helping his team, go to the next level.
Welcome back, my friend. We're delighted to have you back on the show as well. We hope to stay in touch intermittently as we've done the last few years, and hopefully we'll talk soon. Thanks, Mike.
Sounds good. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. That's it. That's Mike Conley, Minnesota Timberwolf again. We are aware that there has been some breaking U.S. Olympic women's hockey news. We will review all of that. Get some good reaction via the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. Don't forget Patrick Royce in studio in about 30 minutes. There's your Olympic sounder, just in time to watch the gold medal ceremony. The members of the U.S. Women's Olympic Hockey Team receiving their gold medals. Please don't drop them because they shatter. That's been a problem earlier in the Olympics. A rather improbable finish. It's being described to me, Gaardsy, as basically Milano Cortina is Team USA's version of Sochi 2014, in that back then, so what, how many years ago is that, 12?
Yep.
Even I can do that math.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. was up 2-1 on Canada late in the third period. Canada scores late in regulation and then wins in OT.
Ooh.
The U.S. obviously returned the favor today, scoring late in regulation. First, Hillary Knight tying the game, correct?
Yes, with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, and I think becoming the all-time goal scorer in Olympic history, correct?
15.
Women's hockey history.
Yep.
And then Megan Keller gets the game winner in OT. How deep into OT was it?
I honestly don't remember the time. Maybe 7-8 minutes.
It was, I think, in that range. I want to say between about that much time, or maybe 15 minutes and change. Because interestingly, the rules are different for overtime hockey
Well, at least compared to what we saw the other day on the men's side. Now, maybe it changes for the gold medal game. I'm not sure. But in this case, it's 20 minutes of hockey.
I know, 3-on-3
3 on 3, 20 minutes. And then at which point I'm assuming it was penalty shots. I'm not even sure. Or shootout. But it did not take that long. And it's interesting because I didn't get to see the first period. But I kept reading these tweets from Russo, who's obviously all over it, basically saying, I don't recognize this team. I don't recognize the U.S. team that started that game with a 31-1 goal advantage during the Olympics. And what I saw is the game, I picked it up in period 2. And what I saw as the game went on, it's almost the classic case of, I think, and I think we saw it a little bit with the Czechs against Canada. You start saying to yourself, why not us? Why not now? You're in it. It's a close game. We're within reach, and you almost gain sustenance from that. And hockey's a weird game. A lot of it is goaltending related. I thought the goaltending in this game was superb on both sides, quite frankly. But then you start going, well, we got a chance to steal this thing. And there were stretches in the third period where I thought, well, Canada just looks better right now.
Yeah, we were on the grind.
Very much on the grind, but they, in the end, get the thing done. And, the U.S. team is in that weird position we've talked about before that you almost have to win. You become a victim of your own dominance where it's so one-sided over the course of the tournament that you're never going to hear the end of it. Hell, the committee was going to name the Tsunami after the U.S. team not getting it done.
It was on the table.
It was definitely on the table, but they don't. Maybe that was motivation for them. Maybe deep down they heard about it somehow, or somebody got the word to Cortina. I'll go with that. In any case, they get the thing done. Looks like the
national anthem,
the flag raising right now, and the national anthem being sung quite heartily by the members of the U.S. club. So, again, it's been, I think, it's been an entertaining Olympics across the board, but the stories from a U.S. standpoint, I think, have been very rich. Some agony of defeat, some thrill of victory. And in the agony of defeat department, if the U.S. would not have come back, would this go to the top of the list?
I think so.
It would have to, based on their dominance to this point. But, to their credit,
they found a way.
And the timing, they pulled the goalie on a TV timeout with the puck in what would be scoring end for them, right? It was perfectly set up. I don't think the puck ever left the zone, their scoring zone, from that point until the goal was scored. So, but point being, the U.S. didn't even have to use their own timeout. I believe it was a TV timeout, if I'm not mistaken. And that was with I want to say it was like 2:20, 2:30 to go. It was definitely longer than 2 minutes when the decision was made, when they came out of break to go to pull the goalie. So there you have it.
It is amazing that when you are the heavy favorite, because the U.S. was the heavy favorite, they've been trucking Canada basically this entire time, including earlier. Being the heavy favorite and having that edge, I feel like that lasts for maybe a period in a game like this. Because once you don't assert yourself like everyone thinks you're going to,
then it changes.
Then the pressure changes, I would imagine, dramatically.
Yes.
And it'll be interesting to hear, Parker obviously is over there to watch Taylor Heisey. I'm sure they'll both come in to talk about it. Parker maybe more than Taylor, but to feel what it felt like in that building, as Canada's really outplaying the U.S. I heard during the overtime intermission, the analyst said that Canada had a better play for 58 minutes. Just straight up. They played better for 58 minutes, and the U.S. hung around and hung in, and then who else would it be but Hillary Knight, the long-time captain. Sometimes you just got to grind it and figure it out, and what a play to end it in overtime. That's going to be replayed forever. Just a completely mythic goal. Great pass, great goal, and there's the gold medals.
And there you have it. I'm trying to find the tweet from Russo that got my attention. Here it is. USA looks very nervous. Nothing is clean. Too many players on the ice penalty. Passes are off and chasing the puck all period. Very unlike this team, which has dominated this tournament, 31-1 goal advantage and beaten Canada 7 games in a row. That was the vibe.
Yeah.
For a lot of that game.
It's the Olympics, man.
And we've learned that pretty much over and over again, right?
Yes.
I mentioned the goaltending being very good on both sides. You can also make the argument if Frankel doesn't make some of the saves that she makes, that we're not even talking about this, that the lead had a chance to be 2 or 3 to nothing. And then you're talking about a completely very much different ball game. By the way, a different puck game. I'm reminded by a couple texters, I think this came up noon to 3. So in the medal games, the overtimes in hockey for the Olympics are 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. If it's a game earlier in the tournament, like it was for the U.S., it was a quarterfinal on the men's side, then it's the rules are different. What do we say? 10 minutes.
10. And
then you go to a shootout. So that's the distinction. There's not a distinction between men and women.
I'll be honest.
It's just what round you're playing in.
I don't love the 3-on-3 overtime or the penalty shots. The shootouts for any of the rounds.
No, I don't love it. I don't disagree with that. I never have loved it.
I get it for the regular season in the NHL.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Everybody's got 82 games to play. Let's give the fans some type of resolution. Let's go. But, man, a gold medal's on the line, and you got 3-on-3 or even worse, you got a shootout?
I feel like this isn't like, maybe you get it if it's the NHL regular season.
Yeah.
When there's, 82 or soon to be 84 games. But when you get to this level, I tend to agree. I think we've talked about that with Louis over a long period of time. What I thought was interesting is the 3-on-3 I see in the NHL, once one side had the puck, they dominated it a lot more than I saw in this game.
Yeah.
Where
more back and forth.
There was definitely more back and forth than we see, I think, in an NHL 3-on-3, which added, I think, to the measure of drama and the uncertainty that whether you have the puck or not, you're not going to necessarily have maybe the same puck possession as well. 64686 is the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. We will name the Tsunami today. The committee has worked hard. We've appreciated a number of the suggestions that have indeed come in. I probably have more texts right now than anything. And this was the greatest nomination, or the most frequent nomination. Everybody wants to know what time you got to the barn. They can't sleep tonight. As it was, they had to sleep last night without knowing.
Yeah.
And they want to know what time you got to the barn. So why don't you fill everybody in on what your route was? Well, I'll tell you what, let's stay on schedule. We'll pause.
Yep.
And then you can give your without giving away secrets, because I know you got a lot of secret backdoor passageways to the barn from here.
I'll say there were no secrets last night.
Okay.
Every secret was unkept.
See how it went, how many dirty looks you got at the barn once you got there. If the head coach took it out on you, your head coach, that you weren't there on time or when you were supposed to be there. We'll get into all of that. Lots more Olympic stuff. As I mentioned, Royce in studio at the top of the hour. No such thing as a shootout. They'll play until someone scores or somebody dies.
I guess that's right.
That's the rule. And I hope nobody dies. Bumper to Bumper continues on the fan on this is a sort of a calm after the Tsunami Thursday here in the Twin Cities that we affectionately refer to as Minneapolis and St. Paul. If you missed the start of the show, we had a nice lengthy conversation, sort of a reintroduction to Mike Conley, the Timberwolves point guard who left and then came back. Practiced with the team today. They return to post All-Star Game action tomorrow night, correct? Who are we playing?
Dallas.
Oh, that's right.
Yep, the Mavs at Target Center. 6:30 puck drop, I believe, tomorrow night.
Yeah, I noticed that. That must be one of those TV.
Yeah, I think it's an ESPN game.
Deals. Will the Mavericks be at full strength?
I don't know. I haven't seen.
In other words, will Kyrie be available? When's Kyrie? Who's going to come back first? Kyrie? Who's the Celtic who's been out for the year?
Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum or Greek Freak. Which of the three are going to come back first?
Probably Greek Freak.
Yeah.
Then Tatum. Kyrie, I think, just announced yesterday. I think he's shutting her down.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think he announced yesterday.
No kidding.
He's done. I'll double check that. But
so a little bit more.
So I'm glad we didn't trade for him.
Little good. So good tanking purposes for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes,
they're excited because I think they have their pick or a pick.
Probably. It's hard to keep track.
Hard to keep track on that. What about the rookie sensation? Will he play tomorrow night? Because he's not available. Didn't you tell me he was already ruled out for tonight?
Yes.
Didn't the Mavericks have a game tonight?
They do.
Or do have a game tonight?
Yeah, I'll try to figure out who that is against. That's right. So it's a schedule loss for Dallas coming out of the break to play us tomorrow night. That's too bad for them. They get. Did they already play? Let me see here. What are we doing here? Hang on.
I thought you had originally said Dallas plays tonight.
I thought so too, but it's not on the schedule. So maybe I read it wrong a couple days ago.
It wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't be the first time I've screwed up something on the computer. So
give us your highway misadventures or adventures.
Oh, yeah.
You blew out of here at about 5:05?
5:05.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right around.
About an hour after you intended to.
45 to 50 minutes after I intended to.
I'm not piling on. There's people. Here's what's weird. People think we're piling on Blakemore. You should check the text line. I'm not piling on him. I know he feels bad about it. Yep. I believe me. This isn't. Let's just make fun of it, mock and ridicule the part-time guy, whatever. No, it's not that at all. The texters are harder on him than I have been, and you've been harder on him than me.
I was hard on him for one specific aspect.
Yeah, that's it.
I did laugh, though, when I was listening to you, and Kessler goes, I understand Brett had a hard time. Just that perfect Kessler.
Yes,
voice.
understated. Yeah.
Just understated.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, I'm at that point when Kessler said that at like 5:17, you probably could have seen my car out that window. Like, even though I'd been gone for 10, 15 minutes, because it was a mess. Anybody that was driving yesterday knows it was a disaster. So I left at 5:05. I'll go to the end first. I texted my wife walking in the concourse at Williams Arena at 6:10.
See, I thought that was a miracle. I thought that was actually good.
Well, I knew.
Based on all the reports.
Yeah. The Google map had been pretty consistent that it was going to take me 45 to 55 to 60 minutes to get to the barn.
But you're not going to give up the route.
Well, the route I usually do from here is I will take the frontage road on 394 all the way down to Penn, and then I'll get on that way because you can make up a little bit of time there.
But then you'll get on 394 at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I usually do that.
You're not saying you did that this time, though?
I would have. But that way I couldn't even get onto that way. The street over here.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's called.
Right.
I couldn't even turn right to get in between those apartment buildings because so many people were already doing that.
Seriously.
So I got onto 394 and just grinded it out until basically you got past Penn and everybody was trying to get onto 94. No one was going downtown. So once I got past there, it was wide open, like by the ABC ramps.
Right.
And then it was just grinding through the slush of the side streets and downtown and getting through the lights and everything. So, it took me 55 minutes to get from here, St. Louis Park, to Williams Arena. And my partner, Lynette, she comes from Cannon Falls. She had texted me, I don't know, 4:45, something like that, saying, I think I'm going to be late. We're not moving. This whole thing. I said, no worries. I'm going to be late too. We're all going to be late. Everybody's going to be late. It just is what it is. We start at 6:30.
So you didn't get mocked by Dawn?
No.
He made it.
We were good.
Royce made it.
We were good. I had no doubts Royce would make it.
How did he get in the building? Security's not as tight as it used to be.
No, it's not.
My God.
No, thankfully, the stuff I do with Dawn is much earlier in the day, so that was already done. Hay was in the barn. We do some stuff with an assistant coach closer to game time that we just had to scrap. Okay. We just had to say that's right. Not going to work. It is what it is. He was cool. It's not a big deal. But the people that check me in when you get to, they're like, wow, you're really cutting it close.
Yeah.
It was, by the time I walked in, we were on the air in 20 minutes, which isn't ideal.
No.
But the hay was in the barn for this game, so that's why I was here as long as I was yesterday. Because I wasn't.
You could afford it.
Sometimes I'm scrambling to get everything done before the game, or I've left something that I need to finish. And yesterday, mostly because it was a big game, and I wanted to make sure I was ready from the jump. I had pretty much everything I needed to do done.
And most importantly, the team down at the half, right?
Down by
Close
3,
game.
29-26.
Dominated, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I could see.
They played
I
so
thought
well.
it was on Big Ten Network. It was on Big Ten Plus, I think.
Right.
Which I don't think I have.
Right. Yeah, it's a different subscription.
It is a different subscription. So I was annoyed because I really wanted to watch a little bit of the ball game. So they take care of business against Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ranked number 10.
Yep.
In the country, and you have one more team ranked coming in later this week, correct?
Michigan State ranked 18th.
Right.
Sunday night, 5 o'clock. You can watch that on FS1.
FS1. And you can hear it on
the Plus for sure.
Okay. You don't know if it's on the Fan?
It won't be on the Fan.
Why not? We just don't do that often?
We have the Wolves.
Oh, the Wolves. That makes sense.
I'm looking at the Wolves game here. So, yeah, it was a great night. Great game. And kudos to the people that showed up. I was thinking there was going to be 10 people at the barn last night. And
I did too.
It wasn't the crowd they wanted, obviously.
Right,
and we're hoping for a top 10, but it was a really good crowd.
Festive?
Yeah, very festive.
Did they storm the court?
No, but somebody tweeted me last night that they regret that they did not. Because I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
We should have
for
a top 10 victory. Student section was great. It was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and the team has a legitimate record too. So it doesn't feel like it's this once in a lifetime, we're going to storm the court because we don't think they can beat anybody else. So
second victory over a top 10 team this year.
You can't argue with it.
It was awesome.
Real quick here before we wrap up this hour, I got to get this in. This is looks like this is Jared from St. Charles. Dan and Justin, I'm a beef farmer from southeast Minnesota, getting my ass kicked by the tsunami and lack of frozen temperatures, creating mud and health issues with our cattle. Listening to the program is much appreciated to get us through the trying weather times. Thank you. I can only say thank you right back because those are the kinds of texts that we live for, man. That's outstanding. It sounds messy. Sounds like a situation that I would not handle very, very well. Kessler might, with all his farm boy experience.
He's so far from the farm boy, though. No, we have no chance.
Not so much. But, Jared, it's the least we can do. Keep listening. We appreciate the loyalty, and I hope things settle down a little bit for you as well on the farm. Come back with Fulda's Own. Are there any farms in Fulda? I can't remember. We'll find out.
I'm sure there's a lot of farms.
Royce will join us in studio. Yeah, but he's a Fulda city boy.
He's a city-it?
As I recall it. But he'll figure all that out with us, and we'll talk pretty much anything and everything between now and 5 o'clock. Questions for Patrick? 64686. Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text.